Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be learning about applying what we just learned about adding and subtracting with multi-digit whole numbers and putting those together and applying what we learned to work out some word problems. Okay. So our objective for today is I can fluently add and subtract multi-digit whole numbers using the standard algorithm. Okay, so I know you've heard me say this the last 2 days, but it is super, super important to line up the numbers correctly, especially if the two numbers have different amount of digits. For example, if I am adding 10,421 to 1,246, they are not going to have the same amount of digits. So I need to make sure that I'm adding the ones places with the ones places, the tens places with the tens places, and so on. Okay, bringing it back to first quarter with word problems, we like to use cubes. C as in circle the numbers, U as in underline the question, B as in box the keywords, E eliminate what you don't need, and S does this answer make sense? I think E probably is my favorite one. Eliminate with what you don't need. A lot of times you'll see word problems and they try to trick you with some extra information. So if you're reading really carefully, you should be able to eliminate all that extra stuff. Okay. There are 4,585 students who rode the bus to school today. There were 3,369 students who came to school another way. How many students were there in school? Were there in all at the school? Ah, okay, looking at this word problem, I need to figure out first of all what am I doing? Am I adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, all of those things? So I need to look at cubes. Circle the numbers. Well, the two numbers that I see are 4,585 and 3,369. Okay. Now I'm going to underline the question. How many students were there in all at the school? Got it that time. That's what I'm trying to find out. I need to figure out how many students there were altogether. So I have my two numbers. I know based on that information that I'm adding. So now, once I have that, I can line my numbers up correctly, add them together, and I should get my final answer of 7,954. Hey, I can fluently add and subtract multi-digit numbers. Listen to this one. Mr. Smith's class is collecting bottles to recycle. The class collected some bottles in March and 2,555 bottles in April. 3,701 bottles were collected in all. How many were collected in March? Hey, again, going back to cubes, I need to circle the numbers. I see two numbers here. See 2,555 and 3,701. How many bottles were collected in March? That's my question, and that's what I'm underlining. So I have my two numbers that I circled. I'm figuring out that it is subtraction. Based on that information, I know I need to start with a bigger number, 3,701, and subtract 2,555. Because I want to figure out how many bottles they collected in March, and I know from the story it says the class collected some bottles in March. So if I'm subtracting, once again, I'm lining up the numbers. Starting with my ones place, we know by now that we are not doing 1 minus 5, that we have to borrow from the neighbor, but the neighbor doesn't have any. So I'm going to borrow from the hundreds place. The hundreds place goes down to a 6, and that gives a 10 to the tens place. And now my ones place can borrow from the tens place, turning my tens place into a 9 and my ones place into an 11. And my final answer should be 1,146. Okay, that was just a real quick review for today. So your next step is you have a worksheet to do. Just like we have been doing all week, there is nothing that you need to submit to me. It is practice. It looks like a My Math page. It has addition, subtraction, and word problems. And you have an exit ticket. I do need the exit ticket for today.